I'll write an engaging 800-word story for part 1, the signal in third-person style using simple basic English without headings. The bright screens filled the room with a soft blue glow. Commander Hannah Park rubbed her tired eyes. She had been watching these same screens for 5 years now. Every day the same empty data. Every day the same silence from the stars. Earth's Deep Space Communication Center was humanity's biggest attempt to talk to aliens. For 70 years, people had been sending messages into space. Radio signals, mathematical codes, pictures of Earth and humans, everything they could think of to say hello to whoever might be listening. But no one ever answered. Hannah took a sip of her coffee, now cold. The night shift was always the hardest. Most of her team had gone home hours ago, leaving just her and a few others to watch the endless stream of data from space. "Another quiet night," said Dae Kim from his station. Dae was the youngest on her team, still full of hope that each day might bring the message they waited for. Hannah nodded. "Just like every other night for the past 70 years. Someone has to be out there," Dae insisted. "The universe is too big for us to be alone. Maybe they're just not talking," Hannah said. This was an old conversation at the center. Why didn't aliens answer? Were they too different to understand our messages? Too far away? Or maybe they were simply not there at all. Hannah checked the time. 2:38 a.m. 4 more hours until morning shift arrived. She stretched and walked around the room, looking at each station's readings. That's when she noticed something strange on Dae's screen. "What's that?" she asked, pointing to a small spike in the data from sector NGC 4404, a galaxy far from Earth. Dae frowned. "I'm not sure. It just appeared a few minutes ago." His fingers moved quickly across his keyboard. "It's some kind of energy pattern I've never seen before." Hannah leaned closer. "Is it a message?" "I don't think so," Dae said slowly. "It's not directed at us. It's more like background noise, but there's a pattern to it." Hannah felt her heart beat faster. After years of nothing, even a strange energy pattern was exciting. "Wake up the team," she ordered. "I want everyone looking at this." Within an hour, the quiet room was filled with people despite the early hour. Analyst Sue Park worked with Dae to collect more data, while Chief Scientist Jin Lee tried to make sense of the pattern. "It's definitely artificial," Jin announced after 2 hours of study. "Natural cosmic events don't create patterns like this." "So it's a message?" Hannah asked. Jin shook his head. "Not exactly. It doesn't seem meant for us. It's more like we're overhearing a conversation not meant for our ears. Or picking up the edges of a signal deliberately hidden from us," suggested Technician Tae-yoon. The room went quiet as everyone considered this idea. "You mean someone out there knows we're listening and is trying to hide their communications?" Hannah asked. Tae nodded. "The pattern has characteristics of stealth technology, like our military uses to hide communications from enemies, but much more advanced." "Why would aliens hide from us?" Dae wondered. "Maybe they're not hiding from just us," Jin said slowly. "Maybe they're hiding from something else." As the sun rose outside, Hannah ordered more powerful receivers to focus on NGC 4414. The strange signal grew stronger and more complex. "I'm detecting similar signals from other galaxies now," Sue announced suddenly. "Hundreds of them, all using the same type of hidden communication." Hannah felt a chill. They're all hiding, but from what? Jin's computer beeped with new results. "I found something embedded in the signal," he said. "It's data, incredibly complex. I think..." He paused, looking up with wide eyes. "I think it's a map." He pushed a button and a holographic image appeared above his desk. Thousands of tiny lights representing stars spread out before them. Certain stars glowed brighter than others. "The bright ones are inhabited worlds," Jin explained. "At least that's what the data suggests. Hundreds of civilizations all across the galaxy. All maintaining radio silence," Sue added. "Look at the pattern. Not one of them broadcasts openly." "Why?" Hannah whispered. "Why would every civilization hide?" Jin pointed to another part of the data. There's more here, some kind of historical record. It shows a massive event about 50,000 years ago. Shortly after multiple civilizations began communicating with each other openly, something happened to them, Day said quietly. Something bad. Hana looked back at Earth's powerful transmitters. For 70 years, humanity had been shouting into space, telling anyone who would listen exactly where to find them. We need to speak with the World Council immediately, she said. The silence wasn't because no one was there. They were deliberately not answering. The question is, Jin said gravely, do we join them in silence or keep calling out into the dark? Hana looked again at the map of hidden civilizations. What are they all so afraid of? The signal pulsed as if in answer to her question. The morning sun shone through the large windows of the main conference room at Earth's Deep Space Communication Center. 3 weeks had passed since the discovery of the strange signal from NGC 4414. Now the room was filled with scientists, military officers, and government officials, all waiting for Jin Lee to explain what his team had found. Jin stood next to a large holographic display. His face showed little sleep but great excitement. He pressed a button on his tablet, and the room darkened as the hologram came to life. What you're seeing is the complete data we extracted from the signal, Jin began. It's taken us 3 weeks to decode even this much. The hologram showed thousands of tiny dots of light, some brighter than others, forming a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy. The bright points represent inhabited worlds, Jin explained, each one housing an intelligent species capable of interstellar communication. Whispers filled the room. Commander Hana Park watched from her seat in the front row. After years of silence from space, they now had proof of not just one alien civilization, but thousands. All of these civilizations share one thing in common, Jin continued. They all maintain complete radio silence. None of them broadcast openly into space. Admiral Kang, the military representative, leaned forward. How can you be sure they're inhabited if they don't broadcast? Because they talk to each other, Jin replied. But they do it using this hidden communication method we detected. It's like whispering instead of shouting. They're deliberately trying not to be heard from a distance. Hana stood up. The question is why? Why would every advanced civilization choose to hide? Jin's face grew serious. That's what we've been trying to figure out. And yesterday we found something. He changed the display to show a timeline. This data suggests a catastrophic event occurred approximately 50,000 years ago. It happened shortly after multiple civilizations began openly communicating with each other. What kind of event? Asked the science minister. We're not entirely sure, Jin admitted. But the data shows that before this event there were many more bright dots on our map. After the event, nearly 60% of them went dark, permanently. A heavy silence fell over the room. Are you suggesting, Admiral Kang said slowly, that something out there destroyed these civilizations because they were communicating openly? That's our working theory, Jin nodded. And it explains why the surviving civilizations now hide their communications and maintain radio silence toward the rest of space. But what could do such a thing? Asked Sue Park, who had joined Jin's research team. What kind of threat could wipe out so many advanced worlds? Jin shook his head. We don't know. The data doesn't say. But whatever it was powerful. Enough to make every surviving civilization change their behavior. They're all hiding from something. Hana walked to the front of the room. This means humanity has been doing exactly what caused the disaster 50,000 years ago. For 70 years, we've been broadcasting our position to the entire universe. We need to shut down all deep space transmissions immediately, Admiral Kang declared. Wait, said Dae Kim, speaking up from his seat. We don't know for certain that broadcasting caused the disaster. And even if it did, we've been sending signals for decades. If something was going to find us because of that, it's too late to hide now. Dae is right, Hana agreed. But we need to understand more before we make any decisions. Jin changed the display again. There's one more thing we discovered. Some of these hidden civilizations are very close to Earth, within 50 light years. They've been our neighbors all this time, listening to our broadcasts but choosing not to answer. Can we contact them directly now that we know how they communicate? Hana asked. Possibly, Jin said. We're working on a way to send messages, using their hidden method. But we don't know if they'll respond or if they'll see us as a threat for discovering their secret. The science minister stood up. We need to prepare for all possibilities. If these civilizations are hiding from something dangerous, we need to know what it is and if it threatens Earth. I agree, Hana said. Jin, your team will continue decoding the signal data. Try to learn more about this event and what caused it. Day, work on establishing direct contact with the nearest civilization using their hidden communication method. The meeting ended and people filed out. Hana stayed behind with Jin. They looked at the galaxy map still glowing in the darkened room. Do you think we should join them? Hana asked quietly. Stop broadcasting and hide like they do? Jin looked troubled. I don't know. But whatever these civilizations fear, it must be powerful to make thousands of worlds choose silence. Or maybe they're just being cautious, Hana suggested. Maybe the threat isn't as bad as they think. For humanity's sake, Jin replied. I hope you're right. The United Nations Security Council chamber in New York buzzed with tension. 50 world leaders sat around the massive circular table, while hundreds more joined by secure video link. Commander Hana Park stood at the center, facing the most powerful people on Earth. The evidence is clear, Hana said, pointing to the holographic display behind her. Thousands of civilizations across our galaxy maintain radio silence. They hide their communications using advanced methods, and they've been doing this since a catastrophic event 50,000 years ago. The Secretary General, a tall woman named Yuna, leaned forward. And you believe this event was triggered by open communication between worlds? That's what the data suggests, Hana confirmed. Shortly after multiple civilizations began broadcasting openly, something happened that destroyed nearly 60% of all intelligent life in our region of space. Then our course of action is obvious, said the Russian president. We must cease all deep space transmissions immediately. For 70 years, we've been announcing our presence to whatever caused this disaster. Murmurs of agreement filled the room. Hana looked at her team, Jin, Day, and Sue, sitting along the wall. They had worked day and night for the past month, trying to understand the hidden message. With respect, Hana said, raising her voice. I disagree. The room fell silent. Humanity has been broadcasting our existence for decades, Hana continued. Our radio and television signals have already reached over 70 light-years in all directions. If something hostile is listening, it already knows we're here. All the more reason to stop now, the Chinese premier argued. Why continue to draw attention? Hana took a deep breath. Because our voice defines us. Our willingness to reach out, to communicate openly, that's what makes us human. These other civilizations live in fear, whispering to each other in the dark. Is that what we want for humanity? To surrender to fear of something that might not even exist anymore? Might not exist? The American president scoffed. Thousands of advanced worlds still hide from it. After 50,000 years, they clearly believe. The threat remains very real. Jin Lee stood up from his seat. If I may, Commander Park is right about one thing. Whatever happened 50,000 years ago, hiding now won't protect us. The signal is already out there. The debate continued for hours. By evening, the vote was taken. 137 countries voted to shut down all deep space communications. Only 46 voted to continue broadcasting. The decision is made, Secretary General Yuna announced. All deep space transmission facilities will cease operations within 24 hours. This is not forever, but until we better understand the threat. Hana. And her team left the UN building in silence. Their years of work, humanity's decades-long attempt to reach the stars, all of it ending because of fear. They're wrong, Hana said as they walked. Hiding won't save us, and it betrays everything we stand for. What can we do? Sue asked. The decision is made. Hana stopped walking. We keep working, we learn more, and maybe we find a way to face this threat instead of hiding from it. 3 days later, Hana was awakened by her phone ringing at 3 a.m. "Commander, you need to get to the center immediately." Day's voice sounded panicked. "Something's happening." When Hana arrived, she found chaos. On the main screen was a live feed from space telescopes showing explosions at communication facilities around the world. "What's going on?" she demanded. "It started 2 hours ago," Jin explained. "Someone is attacking deep space communication arrays worldwide. 6 have been destroyed already." "Terrorists? Foreign powers?" Hana asked. Sue shook her head. "We received this video message right before the attacks began." The screen changed to show a man in a dark room. "We are the Earth Protection Front," he said. "The UN's decision to merely suspend communications is not enough. These facilities must be permanently destroyed to ensure Earth's safety. We do this to save humanity from the fate that befell those other worlds." "They're afraid," Day said quietly. "So afraid they're willing to destroy our own technology." Suddenly, all the screens in the room began flashing red alerts. "What now?" Hana asked. Jin's face went pale as he checked the readings. "Multiple objects just appeared at the edge of our solar system. They weren't there in our last scan 10 minutes ago." "Appeared? You mean they arrived?" Hana asked. "No," Jin said, his voice shaking. "I mean they literally appeared out of nowhere. One moment nothing, the next moment something." The main screen showed grainy images of strange metallic objects moving toward Earth. "How many?" Hana whispered. 12, Jin answered. "And they're accelerating." Hana felt a terrible realization dawn on her. "It's not our broadcasting that attracted attention," she said. "It's our silence. When every communication array on Earth suddenly went dark at once, it was noticed," Day finished, "by whatever enforces the silence." Jin nodded grimly. "And now they're coming to make sure we stay quiet." The objects continued their approach toward Earth, their purpose unknown but feared. Humanity's decision to hide had only made them more visible to whatever watched the stars. The metallic objects surrounding Earth moved with perfect precision. From space stations and satellites, humans watched as the 12 visitors took positions around the planet, each one the size of a small mountain. No one knew their purpose, but everyone feared the worst. In the command center, Hana Park stared at the main screen showing live feeds of the objects. For 3 days they had done nothing but observe Earth from a distance. 3 days of silence and growing fear. "Any response to our attempts at communication?" Hana asked. Engineer Tai Yun shook his head. "Nothing. We've tried radio, laser, even the hidden communication method we discovered. They ignore everything." "Maybe they're waiting for us to make the first move," suggested Dae Kim. "Or maybe they're deciding what to do with us," Jin Lee said grimly. As if responding to Jin's words, one of the objects suddenly began to move. It descended toward Earth, heading directly for the remains of the largest deep space communication array in Australia, destroyed days earlier by the Earth Protection Front. "They're coming down," Hana said. "Alert the Security Council." Within hours, military forces from around the world converged on Australia. Fighter jets circled the area as the object hovered above the ruined facility. Then, smaller objects emerged from the main vessel and descended to the ground. "We're getting video feed from Australian forces," Sue Park announced, bringing up the images on the main screen. Everyone watched in tense silence as the smaller objects, each the size of a car, began methodically examining the destroyed communication array. They moved with purpose, scanning everything. "What are they?" asked Admiral Kang, who had joined them at the center. "Based on their behavior," Jin replied, "I believe they're automated. Machines, not living beings." "Sentinels," Tay suggested. "Ancient machines programmed to enforce the silence." As they watched, the machines began rebuilding parts of the array, but with modifications. "They're not repairing it," Jin realized. "They're converting it." "Into what?" Hana asked. "A monitoring station," Jin said. "They're making sure we can't use it to broadcast again." Over the next week, the pattern repeated worldwide. The Sentinels systematically visited every major communication facility on Earth, converting each one into monitoring stations. They moved with mechanical efficiency, ignoring all human attempts to communicate or interfere. When military forces in China attempted to stop them, the Sentinels simply disabled their weapons without harming the soldiers. It became clear they had no interest in hurting humans. They only wanted to ensure Earth's silence. "They're not destroyers," Jin observed during an emergency meeting. "They're enforcers. They don't want to eliminate us. They want to contain us." "Like zookeepers putting up a fence," Hana said bitterly. "There must be a way to communicate with them," Day insisted. "To make them understand we mean no harm." Jin shook his head. "I don't think they care about our intentions. They only care about maintaining the silence." "Wait," Tay said suddenly. "I've been analyzing their response patterns. They only react to specific types of signals. Structured, direct communications. They completely ignore our cultural transmissions." "What do you mean?" Hana asked. "When we played music over loudspeakers near them, they showed no reaction. Same with artwork we displayed. They only respond to direct communication attempts." Jin's eyes widened. "They can't comprehend our cultural expressions. They're programmed for a specific purpose and can't understand anything outside their parameters." Hana felt the first glimmer of hope in days. "So they understand technology, but not humanity." "Exactly," Tay agreed. "They're ancient machines following rigid programming. They don't understand creativity, art, or indirect communication." Hana stood up, excitement in her voice. "Then we fight with what makes us human." The plan formed quickly. Around the world, people began using methods the Sentinels couldn't comprehend. In France, they painted massive murals containing mathematical formulas. In Japan, they played symphonies that encoded messages in their musical structure. In Brazil, they created massive light displays that used color patterns to carry information. None of these methods triggered the Sentinels' programming. They were blind to human creativity. Meanwhile, Hana's team worked on their most daring plan. They discovered the Sentinels communicated with each other using a simple, predictable pattern. "If we can disrupt their communication," Jin explained, "we might be able to confuse them long enough to make contact with the other civilizations." "How?" Admiral Kang asked. "By turning their own signals against them," Jin replied. "We create interference that matches their pattern, but adds variations they can't process. Like teaching a new song to someone who only knows one tune," Day added. As the Sentinels continued their methodical work, humanity prepared its response. The rigid machines had never encountered a species willing to fight back with creativity instead of technology. They had enforced silence for thousands of years, but they had never met humans before. The Sentinels' synchronized movement suddenly faltered. Across the globe, the machines paused their work as Jin's team activated their interference pattern. The plan was working. In the command center, everyone held their breath as they watched the main screen. The 12 parent vessels orbiting Earth began to drift out of their perfect formation. "It's working," Jin whispered. "Their communication network is confused by our signal." Hana nodded. "Start phase 2. Around the world, hidden transmitters activated simultaneously. Unlike the direct signals the Sentinels were programmed to detect and suppress, these carried messages encoded in ways the machines couldn't recognize. Music with mathematical patterns, artwork containing star coordinates, and dance movements representing language. The signals passed right through the Sentinels' defenses, reaching out to the nearest civilizations that had been hiding in silence. "Now we wait," Hana said, "and hope someone answers." For 3 days, the Sentinels tried to regain control of their network. Their movements became erratic as they attempted to locate the source of the interference. But humanity had learned from watching them. The transmitters constantly changed, their patterns staying one step ahead of the machine's programming. On the 4th day, Jin burst into Hana's office. "We got a response." Hana followed him to the analysis room where Day and Sue were already working. On the screen was a strange pattern of colors and shapes. Not a language, but a code. "It's from a system just 12 light years away," Day explained. They're using our own method of hiding messages in visual patterns. What does it say? Hana asked. It's a warning, Jin replied, his face serious. And instructions. They're telling us how to permanently disable the Sentinels. The message explained that the Sentinels were ancient machines created millions of years ago by a now extinct civilization. They had been programmed to prevent the rise of a mysterious threat called the Void, a force that allegedly emerged when too many intelligent species communicated openly. But here's the interesting part, Sue said. According to this message, many civilizations now believe the Void never existed. It was a myth created by the original programmers to justify their control over other species. The Sentinels have been enforcing silence based on a lie? Hana asked in disbelief. Possibly, Jin nodded, but the machines kept following their programming long after their creators died out, and most civilizations were too afraid to challenge them. Until now, Day added with a smile. They say we're the first species in thousands of years to actively fight back. Following the instructions from their new allies, Hana's team created a special shutdown signal. When activated, it would reset the Sentinels' ancient programming and force them to retreat. The world watched anxiously as the signal was transmitted. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, one by one, the Sentinels stopped their work. The smaller machines returned to their parent vessels. The 12 massive ships moved away from Earth and gathered at the edge of the solar system. A final message appeared on Earth's screens. Compliance failure, sector quarantined, monitor status, active. They're leaving, Admiral Kang said in disbelief. But they'll be watching us. Let them watch, Hana replied. We've shown we won't be silenced. In the days that followed, more messages arrived from other civilizations. Some were curious, others fearful, but all were amazed by humanity's defiance. We're in a unique position, Jin explained during a UN meeting. For millennia, these civilizations have lived in fear, hiding their true nature. We've shown them another way is possible. And what about this void they fear? Secretary General Yuna asked. Some believe it was real, Jin replied. Others think it was a myth. But living in fear of something that might not exist is no way for intelligent life to thrive. 6 months later, Hana stood before a new communication array, the first of many being built around the world. This one was different from the old ones. It incorporated technology from 5 different alien civilizations, all designed to speak without fear. Are we ready? She asked. Jin nodded. 27 civilizations are standing by to join the first open multi-species communication network in 50,000 years. Hana took a deep breath and activated the system. This is Commander Hana Park of Earth. We heard your silence. Now hear our voice. Across the galaxy, species that had hidden in fear for millennia listened as humanity led them toward a new era of openness. The Sentinels remained at the edge of the solar system, watching, waiting. But they were programmed to enforce silence, and they had never encountered a species that refused to be quiet. The silence was broken, and in its place a chorus of voices began to rise.